What's up? My name is John and this is Cinema Saturday. Today I have a review for Hoppers, Pixar's latest movie about Mabel, a young girl who is sometimes hot-headed and makes rash decisions, but uses nature to kind of calm herself down. Over time, she grows to love this place in nature that used to have lots of animals and things there, but because the animals have mysteriously disappeared, they're not in this area anymore, the city, or may I say the mayor, has decided to build a highway right in the middle of it. And through such crazy things in the Pixar movie, she hops into a beaver body in order to try to find other animals and convince them to come back. And of course, hijinks ensue. Now, of course, we love Pixar. I love Pixar. The only Pixar movie I think I really haven't seen is The Good Dinosaur, which when it first came out got not so great reviews, but I think it's one of those things that you just have to watch and then maybe you'll learn to appreciate over time. I don't know. But I did see last year's Elio, which I made a review on, and I dug Elio. So I was, I'm still a Pixar fan. I wouldn't consider myself a Disney adult, but I love Pixar and pretty much everything they do. Toy Story 4 was weird. It was alright, but it was weird. Anyways, I guess we'll start with the animation. The animation is good. I don't know how you could have bad animation nowadays. I feel like in order to have fantastic animation, you have to change up your art style and do something really creative, just like in like the Spider-Verse movies. So, but this movie is very grounded for the most part in its animation because we are in nature. We are dealing with real life animals in our real life worlds. There is something in here with a human person that goes real evil, and to me, I was like, oh, this is a bit spooky, a bit scary. The guy that went evil looked very menacing, and I was like, oh, hope this isn't too scary for kids. I don't think it was, but I was like, oh, that design is really good. There was one scene where a bunch of animal leaders get together, and the way they come together, particularly the reptile, I thought that was pretty cool. So there's still a lot of creativity going on with the animation, even though it is grounded a little bit. I would say all the voice actors, the performances in here are pretty good. They're pretty good. Nobody missed. Nobody phones it in. I think everyone really went for it. Watching the credits, I was surprised to see how many like real life celebrities that I knew was actually in this movie that I did not know who they were at the time I was watching the movie. Like at one point there's like, Meryl Streep is in here and I'm like, Meryl Streep? Huh? But that was cool. That was cool. The vocal performances are pretty great. The creativity in this movie is still very good. There's one scene with a shark, and when I tell you my mouth was agape, I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening? What did the animators dream of to do in this situation? It was very good. It had me, I was on the edge of my seat and laughing at the same time. Because this movie is actually pretty funny. It's not like the funniest movie you've ever seen. It isn't the funniest Pixar movie, but it does have its moments. And there are little gems of comedy that shine throughout the movie that I think are really special. And it did have me actually laughing out loud. So it was funny. I enjoyed my time. And the story just kind of goes all sorts of places. It's a Pixar movie. Once you see how it begins, you kind of know how it's going to end. There aren't really, the ending doesn't get too crazy. You're not going to be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. No, you could probably you could probably figure out at least how the ending is gonna go, at least how they want this movie to go. How so yeah, I mean it's not like a crazy ending where like I don't want to give away spoilers. But like yeah, it's not a crazy ending to where like the animals are, turning up. Nope, don't want to say that either. It's not a crazy ending where, the animals get. Wow. I'm trying to think of a way to explain this movie, but like every time I try to think of something that's like, oh, wait, no, they actually did do that in the movie. Oh, they actually did do that in the movie. So I'm going to say this script is overall very creative. The places it goes, like the in between, you're not really gonna guess what happens in between, what happens to certain characters, what happens in certain situations. You're not gonna really see it coming. So really it's only the end. And when I say the end, I really mean like it's gonna be a happy ending for the most part. Of course it will. It's not a dark ending Pixar movie, but yeah, let's talk about some of the characters, because I think that's where this movie really shines. The characters in the animals are really, really good. I love Bobby Monahan as the Mammal King. I'm blanking on his name, but he did really good. It made me feel for him. There's also a different beaver in this movie who's really kind of funny. He's like a stoner beaver. That was fun. There's also like a salamander lizard guy who I think is pretty hilarious. Like, I think if any of the kids are gonna like latch on or like quote what any of the characters says, it's gonna be like this little lizard dude because he steals the show sometimes. There's also a bear in here, which they utilize in the movie, but they don't really utilize. The bear as a character doesn't get much to do or doesn't get to really say much, so we don't really get to learn much about the bear. But they more so use the bear as like a tool as to like help things progress and things like that. It really just helps the story. She really just helps the story. I'm not going to gender a bear. Another thing about the animation is that I thought it was really cool how, because the animals, through some weird Pixar magic, the animals can all understand each other. And when we, the audience, can understand the animals, they have like normal eyes. But when the people, or even the audience, we can't understand the animals, then they have like little beady eyes. Like they look more animalistic and less, I guess, human. These eyes are less able to emote, which I thought was a cool creative choice because, we can't really understand how an animal feels. I mean, I think there are even instances where like you're like, oh my gosh, that dog is so cute. He's looking at me. And just because he's looking at you doesn't mean he's a friendly dog, okay? You can't really tell unless you know that dog or like someone tells you that dog's friendly. So in the end, I really enjoyed my time with Disney Pixar's Hoppers. It is a little bit more than just Avatar into a beaver. There's more substance to the movie than that. So, that being said, I give Hoppers a good old 8 out of 10. It's a pretty good movie, guys. Take your families to it. Go with the kids. The kids in my theater loved it. In fact, I feel like when the movie ended, that we all, like everyone in the theater, almost wanted to clap. We almost wanted to clap because we were like, dang, that was a good movie. That was a good movie. But that's all I have for today. That's my review on Hoppers. My name is John. Thank you for watching Cinema Saturday. And as always, have a good one.